Hey everyone, we really appreciate all your feedback during this Sisu to SkySlope integration that we have. It is officially in beta, but we have approximately 40 to 50 teams already using it successfully, and those transaction counts are increasing every day. So we appreciate all the existing Sisu users who have elevated and continue to evolve this integration. Still active beta, but we're getting more and more customers onboarded in it and knocking out additional functionality and additional to some bug fixes as well. So I kind of wanted to give you an update on the integration in order for you to get up and start using it for your team or brokerage. So we have done some pretty neat things with it, specifically if you are a Compass brokerage or EXP brokerage. We definitely know you have some unique edge cases in which you use the integration. So first thing you're going to do is we want to make sure that you're able to get access for your users who are SkySlope users in addition to the SkySlope administrators. We know a lot of the Compass and EXP customers are not admin users in the system. In addition to they may not have full access to SkySlope administrator. We do understand that. We've tried to address as much of that as we can in the integration, but there might be some additional data entry for your SkySlope users to use once you push the information over from Sisu to SkySlope. Another thing to really make sure that we highlight is this is not a SkySlope to Sisu integration. This is absolutely getting the information oftentimes real early on, because Sisu tracks things all the way from the CRM, when the CRM typically puts things in the appointment set phase, and starting the transactions earlier. We gather as much information as we can from the CRM, at the very least from the agent creation. And then we push that information over into SkySlope, eliminating a lot of the manual data entry that is done to get a SkySlope subscription or transaction created. So if you're looking for a SkySlope to Sisu integration, that is not what this is currently, even though that is being discussed for some next iteration. Another thing to note is once you submit your information over to SkySlope, if you have anything you need to update the SkySlope transaction, it's definitely best practice to update your Sisu transaction and push the update button over into SkySlope. Another thing to note, and I'll highlight in the integration here, is if you do have active existing transactions in SkySlope, we will do what we can to match on an address so that you can launch your SkySlope transactions directly from Sisu. So first thing you're going to do is, as an administrator in Sisu, is you're going to come over here and make sure that you have Automation Hub turned on. If you do not have that turned on, reach out to us directly and we'll turn it on. Once you're in the integration or in that Automation Hub, you'll see SkySlope and you'll see a bunch of empty boxes here. So I'm going to show you where we get this information to populate that from SkySlope. So again, it is definitely ideal if you are a SkySlope administrator, but we know that is not always the case. First thing you need to do is come over into SkySlope, go to the upper right dot over here, click on My Account, and you'll have the option off to the far right of clicking on Integrations and generating a new key. Generating the new key, you likely will not have any keys in there anyway, but if you do have any, please make sure you generate a new key for this integration. You'll see that I have an access key and a secret. All we're going to do from here is copy each one of those and paste it into the access key and access secret location. Your box is likely only going to have this top information. You're not going to see any of this yet. Once you do that and you click update, you will see the name of your SkySlope office below. Make sure you select the SkySlope office and click update. Once you click on update, you'll have the ability to test your API connection. Once you click on your API connection, you will start to see a list of your SkySlope users that are currently in Sisu, that match from Sisu to SkySlope. So we're going to talk a little bit of that here in a second. So the way that we're able to address some of this integration for some of your users is we do allow you to create, as an admin, if I'm an admin and I come over to users, you do have now the ability to add an alternative email address right here. So many of our Compass users and EXP users, if you know what your SkySlope admin or your SkySlope user email address, especially for EXP and Compass, you no longer are required to use the same email address in Sisu as that SkySlope user. But what you want to typically do here, again, mainly for our EXP and our Compass users, make sure you type in what their Compass or your EXP Realty email address is. For EXP, that's typically first name, dot or period, last name, exprealty.com. You're going to place that in the alternate email address. Once you do that, we are then able to match those SkySlope users directly down below in the matched users. This section of the screen definitely does apply to our EXP and Compass users. We've designed it because we know that in SkySlope, your primary agent or the primary agent or the broker of record on the transaction is likely going to be your broker owner or whoever's responsible for when those get submitted over to EXP or Compass for commission. What you're going to do in that instance is you're going to select that broker owner or agent of record as the of what the transactions will be filed under on SkySlope. If that is not the case and you're a traditional SkySlope user, then you just want to make sure you leave this blank or leave it selected as the transaction primary agent. Primarily, if I have this option set up as I do here and I submit my SkySlope transaction, it is going to use the same, it will use the same agent right here, Frank Felice, an example, as my SkySlope primary transaction user. In the instance, if you're an EXP or Compass user and you select individual that is going to be identified as the primary agent in SkySlope, it will still retain the agent designation in Sisu, but when it submits it over to SkySlope, it will use whoever that primary agent is. This is so we don't ruin any of the metrics in Sisu, but we also make sure we're compliant and submit the transaction as the primary agent of record or the broker owner. So once all that information is set up, we begin to start matching and identifying all your matched users that is already in the SkySlope platform. Once that has been done and you can test your API connection, you'll get a button at the bottom of your screen to say that the SkySlope API connection is successful. The way that the Sisu to SkySlope integration works is, as mentioned, we take all that information in the transaction form, again, traditionally started from the CRM or at the very least by the agent. So first name, last name of your client, contact information, the type, lead source, all the information that we're gathering way early on in the transaction, most notably the agent, transaction amount, and again, some of the information you're using for your metrics, such as appointment set, and oftentimes, title and mortgage. Now what you will see off to the far left is you will have a SkySlope button at the bottom of your screen. Because we've entered in all the information early in your transaction form, now all I will need to do is fill out the remaining information to submit it to SkySlope. But again, this is traditionally the required information that your SkySlope system needs in order to submit this to SkySlope. Some of these fields are required by SkySlope. Some of them may be required by your entity, such as Realty One or Compass or EXP or even your own brokerage. Some of that may be required on those SkySlope transaction forms. So I'm going to fill this information out in this example because that is what is required either at the brokerage level or at the form level. Again, the nice thing is either traditionally our customers, the transaction coordinator or other users are entering this information in. Again, most of it's going to be entered in anyway early on. And then they're just really finalizing the information so that they can get their SkySlope transaction completed and they don't have to retype it in SkySlope. Looks like I needed to add my title company. Once I got the title company, you can see at the very top of the screen, I have a SkySlope transaction button. It indicates as I've created the transaction or Being that we can match on your address information in SkySlope, we have identified a matching SkySlope record that might have already been created in SkySlope. Once I click on that, it automatically launches me into my SkySlope transaction. Just to be clear, if some of the information cannot be pulled from Sisu, the transaction coordinator may have to fill in a minor amount of information into the SkySlope transaction. But the process is once you have updated information on the Sisu transaction, all you merely have to do is come in and update the information in Sisu, click submit, and it files it back to SkySlope to keep the two in sync. Thanks everybody for your feedback throughout this beta. It's been really great to have all of your interest and moving it along so fast. Reach out if you have any questions and we'd be glad to work with you directly.